listeners, I'm Robert Million, and welcome back to 100% Creative Juices, where we talk with the talented creators in the entertainment industry today. Today, the room is filled with monsters. Our special guests are the creators and stars of the web series The Ghouligans. Please welcome Pete Bune, Sean King, Michael Koscik. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
hello.
Thanks, Robert. Hey, thank you for saying my name right. A lot of people don't say Pete Bune correctly. They say Pete Bun, Pete Booney, Pete Bunny. It's all right. Cool. Thanks. No, that's sincere.
Yeah, you got all the names right.
Yeah, Koscik was right. Good job. You did your homework.
I sounded it out.
You practiced this, didn't you?
Yes. Just so the audience can match the voice to the name, can you please introduce yourself and tell us who you play and what you do on The Ghouligans?
Yes, this is Sean King, and I play Void on The Ghouligans.
Hi, this is Pete Bune. I play Wolfgang W. Wolfgang.
Hello, this is Michael Koscik, and I play Boris, the Kromstruck.
The Kromstruck?
Yeah, we have a Frankenstein's monster, and a werewolf, and a zombie, and a lot of other monsters, too, who come in and out of the show. We have vampires, robots, sea creatures, Mexican wrestlers, mummies, witches, vampires, all kinds of stuff.
You said vampires.
Yeah, well, we have a couple of them.
Okay.
Well, first off, what is the Slack Pack?
Ooh, the Slack Pack is basically it's our comedy team name, but it's also our production company. And Pete's probably best in describing how that started way back in the days.
Well, we met back in the 90s, you know, in the time of like 90210s and hip hops and gangster raps. Do you have gangster raps in Canada?
Close enough with the A's and the boots, you know.
Back in like the late 90s, we all met in high school together, and we started a sketch comedy crew, and we had a public access show called Slacker TV, and over the next 7 years after that evolved into the Slack Pack Productions, where we branched out from sketch comedy, and we did short films and features, and it evolved into the Ghouligans, and we do sketch comedy as monsters now.
It's basically the same personnel and people and crew that we had that we've carried throughout the last 15 years. We started out, like Pete said, back in high school, and we've always started out like independently. You know, we've always been private. We funded all of our stuff, and we went through sort of our growing pains. This was pretty much our film school was doing this, this public access show, and we got a local cult following out where we live out here in Long Island, New York, and ever since then we've been doing it. We've been friends, so there's a bit of a bond between us.
We're business partners. We're not friends anymore.
Yeah,
that's what happens after 15 years.
Yeah, we can't be friends anymore.
Yeah,
it's business, strictly business.
So you all started in high school buddies?
Yeah. Oh, it was weird because we were kind of in different cliques almost. But Mike and I met on the school bus.
True.
And he was.
He used to kick your ass in the school.
Yeah, he was like. I was like the nerdy kind of like. Oh, I like math. I don't know.
I was a dark, scary loner.
He was smoking cigarettes, and then Sean was playing handball in the court.
Yeah, he was a dirtbag.
Dirtbag with long hair.
Selling crack.
Selling crack, drawing monsters on desk, and so it wasn't until like we all graduated that we met each other.
Yeah, we're each like a couple of years in age apart. And we had a great, where we went to high school, we had a great TV program and great professors there. And they would let us come in and use their video equipment. Even if we had graduated, we would still go back and use the cameras and editing. And even when we were going to school, we'd take out the gear and cut class and go make movies in between classes. And as we were editing these things, we would all be there and we'd be looking at each other's movies and we'd say, oh, that's really cool. And check out what I'm doing, and then it was
a lot harder back then too. Like I understand, like a lot of high schools, even middle schools and colleges, they have like all digital gear, all like high end, accessible gear. We had to learn it like all analog, all VHS tape, and
that's right.
And back when we started, many a moon ago, it wasn't very popular as it is today to be independently making movies. You know, you see a lot of people with the new technology of cameras and video editing and all the software that's available. It's more rampant now. More people with making DIY productions. We were doing it sort of when it wasn't really
chic.
It was chic, or it wasn't really possible.
That's right. Yeah, in the early '90s, it was like if you were one of those AV club kids wheeling the TV down, or carrying a camera down the hallway, you'd probably get your ass kicked.
The cameras are also the size of your arm back then.
Right.
And the other member of our Slack pack, our Slack TV that we started out with, was our fourth member, Justin Hertz. He was another guy that we came up with, and we started out with him, and he was one of the founding members of Slacker TV, Slack pack, and even the Ghouligans. I mean, he's no longer with us now because he's now, a family man, gym teacher. He's got a real life. But
he played Count Farnham.
He played Count Farnham in our original conception of the Ghouligans in our first 2 DVDs.
So if anybody's wondering, if anybody's listening, if anybody's wondering where the original Count Farnham went, he went he's the only one who got a real life. AKA the smart one.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, you are all just dorks dressing up as monsters.
Yeah. Hey, man.
You got it, man.
See, I always say this to these guys, and like I did it before these guys. I was into horror and stuff, but I warned them and I said, you're entering into a new realm when you put paint and latex on your face and go out into the public.
Gallons and gallons of fake blood.
Yeah. So and they were cool with it. So it was all go after that. Once they understood that they can't go back,
You can't go back.
No.
I forgot what life was like before the makeup and the fake blood.
That and if a girl asks you, have you ever gone to like a Spock convention, you have to say yes.
I've never gone to Spock convention.
That's what they say. They say, oh, you're a Trekkie, you go to Spock conventions.
They're not Spock conventions.
You go to Spock conventions dressed as Captain Skywalker.
Well, you know what? It's cool to be nerdy now.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. When we started, it was
yeah.
Like 15 years ago, it was actually, if this is a program about web-based entertainment, our first legitimate job was actually in 2002 or 2003. Yeah, 02 going into 03. We got, based off our cable access show, we got hired from a big newspaper in our area called Newsday.
It was actually a Tribune company.
Right, and they wanted us to do our TV show on the web, and they said, we want to order a bunch of webisodes from you.
It was about 3 years before YouTube. Also.
Right. So we didn't know what the hell a webisode was. They said keep it between like 5 and 6 minutes and do a skit. And we did it, and they bought 14 shows, and we thought we were like, we thought we hit it big.
High rollers.
we got a web series back before they had a name for a web series. And this was when you had to wait probably 25 minutes for a 6-minute video to download, and then you can watch it on your little player,
Yeah, nothing like it is now on YouTube when you have to get 6 million views to be popular.
Right, yeah. So I'm sure we were the only ones viewing our things because nobody knew where to find it. Nobody knew what a webisode was. So it kind of came and went really quietly.
We were doing all this stuff, back in the day, and a lot of it we were doing to entertain ourselves and our small following and our friends. We did it, and we still do it really to an extent, primarily off of passion and a love for what we do, and probably a love for each other. It's very much where we do this because we have to do it, and it drives us.
I was doing it because I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
I thought we were cool.
I thought we were gonna get
girls.
I thought we were the Fonzies.
I thought we were gonna get laid, dude.
Yeah.
This is a big waste of 15 years.
Yeah, like I don't know how to play an instrument, so this was the equivalent of being in a band for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, you saw me on TV. You know you did, girl.
Well, you have to find those girls who are into latex costumes.
Well, it's easier now, but we were struggling years ago, man.
Yeah, it wasn't that cool years ago.
Now we're like,
wait,
now
is
we're
it
like
easier now?
No,
we still not.
Yeah, game.
Even in the cosplay world, we're not that cool.
Yeah, we crash cosplay parties and furry parties, and we don't have much love.
You see me as the werewolf and I'm dressed up as the werewolf and Ghouligans, and like, are you supposed to be the cat from Red Dwarf? Get the hell away from me.
If she asks you, say yes.
I know that.
What's your room number?
Yeah, but you know what? It's dude that. Hey man.
Yeah.
You're cat from Red Dwarf.
But it's actually good that we had that base, because once we finished up with the Slack pack sometime around 2005, we came together and we decided to sort of take the same people we work with and on our abilities that we picked up from the Slack pack, and we formed the group the Ghouligans in 2005. we said, well, let's still do sketch comedy because we're good at comedy, but let's, maybe give it a twist or give it a theme. And since, horror seemed like the right fit for us because we all pretty much enjoy, horror comedy, the Munsters, the Addams Family, those were big influences of ours, and we decided to create something in that vein, and that's how we started the Ghouligans.
Right, the Monkeys. We were watching a lot of Nick at Night back then, and the Monkeys, the Munsters,
well,
Scooby-Doo.
Going from the Slack Pack to the Ghouligans was pretty much like the Beatles, like Paul McCartney and the Beatles going to Wings. So we're in our Wings phase right now.
Yeah, right.
We're Wolfmen on the run. We're a band on the run. No, they don't have Wings in Canada.
I've seen Wings.
You have. Are you a bigger Beatles fan or a Wings fan,
I'm
Robert?
so sorry.
We're going to apologize.
What?
Very frequently.
I just want to talk about Wings.
You've been talking about Wings all day.
I know. I thought I would have Robert
You
here.
don't want to talk about Wings anymore.
Okay.
Paul McCartney and Wings, actually, is the proper name of the band, right?
Yeah.
No, I think it was Paul McCartney and Paul McCartney Wings. Wasn't that the name of the band?
Yeah, dude, look, I'm doing the W sign with my hands.
He's really doing it.
Look, listen, people, he's doing the sign with his hands.
Yeah, it's like my gang sign. I go into like inner city areas, and when I run into gangs, I show my Wings hand symbols, and usually I get away with it.
Yeah, that's when people
back off when they know you're a Wings fan.
That's right.
That'll do.
Or they're just uncomfortable.
You're just spreading that piece around.
Yo, man, that guy's into Wings.
Let's get out of here, man. That guy really likes his wings.
Run away.
Yeah,
And
let's go get some dinner. Let's go.
but younger people think I'm doing Weezer, but it's not. It's Wings.
We got way off track. What were we talking about? Basically, we finished, like Mike said, we finished the Slack Pack show, and it was basically the four of us doing our kind of surreal sketch comedy as like slacker guys, guys in their 20s. And we figured that if we were going to do something again, we couldn't really show our faces or do the same kind of thing. So we thought of a radical different thing would be to be monsters.
It also helps because when we did the public access show, we were like 18 and 19. So then now that we're older and 30, we could be in makeup forever for as long as we can.
That's right. Yeah, you can be as young looking as you want, or if you're a zombie, you can look 500 years old and still. Actually,
the older and more decrepit we get, the better it looks on camera with makeup.
Well, if you reference like you said with Red Dwarf, the guys still look pretty old.
Yeah.
There's a new series this year. Right?
They
like 20. They've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah, dude, they look crazy old, but they need more makeup. That's the problem. If they had like full facial prosthetics, and crazy, people might buy it. It's still great though.
The next step is CGI Faces.
No, we can't do that.
I want some CGI abs, like 300. Is that cool?
No, it sucks because like we're editing our new series now, and we do a lot of like blue screen, green screen, and keying and compositing stuff because it's just so easy now, and it's opened up a lot of options for us, but it's still kind of painful to add in, let's just use the CG blood squibs, or let's fix this with some compositing and stuff, because we like to do everything in camera and practical, just like the way they did it, because it's still we've gotten away from the retro vibe a little bit, but we try to keep everything still handmade and
well, how we started out with the Ghouligans when we first started doing it, we were more sort of gothic. Our first DVD that we put out was in black and white. It was a series of webisodes.
There's a collection of shorts.
Right. And it was very sort of gothic. The humor was a little darker, and the comedy and the theme was a little more straight-laced. And then, as we evolved with it, we put out our second DVD, the Ghouligans Super Show, which we did in color. And we shifted we transitioned into a more 70s Saturday morning cartoon sort of vibe, where it was colorful, it was popping, it was like live cartoons.
Right, it was like a Croft show or something.
Yeah, it was Sid Marty Croft show. And then even more so now, as we're getting to our next stage, which we're doing now, we're putting out we're actually doing a 6 30-minute episode miniseries. We're we're sort of getting down the timeline now. We're getting into more 80s humor, more 90s humor, and we're sort of evolving the characters. We're evolving the concept, and we're spreading it out. And it is almost, if you look at all of our stuff from DVD to DVD, we have 3 DVDs out now, and then this new series. You'll notice the progression. You'll notice the evolution in everything that we do. So it's cohesive. It feels like you're watching it in order. So
yeah, there is sort of a timeline.
There's a timeline there, and there's an ebb and flow that we carry throughout everything that we're doing because of the way we do things.
Going back to your public access days, what was that time like? Because you don't hear much about what it was like back then, now with the internet taking over everything.
Well, it was, we're out in the street. Where we lived is this sort of a main street area.
It was guerrilla style.
And we did it all guerrilla style. People would be driving by, and I might have been in a chicken suit or gorilla suit, standing on the side of the road, waving a sign for a skit, and people would be driving by either laughing and waving or throwing a McDonald's soda cup at us.
If you're curious, you could actually. We uploaded some old Slacker TV sketches on YouTube too that you could check out. But we didn't believe in permits. There's no such thing as permits.
No.
It was all guerrilla style. It was all like in our parents' houses and basements, and almost like we would almost find something live going on, bring our cameras, and just show up and just start shooting stuff.
Yeah, it was very
for production value.
It was beg, borrow, and steal for us, and that's the way we've always done things, and that's why we're so good now at funding our own things and sort of doing a low budget, is because we've always been DIY. We've always done it ourselves. We've always taken whatever locations we can, however legal or illegal that may be. We've done it.
We learned how to do things with zero budget.
Yeah.
$100 is like, whoa, you can buy props?
Actually, like I said before, we used to use our old high school's equipment. We actually still we use some things from
the tripod.
We have a tripod and a light stand that still says high school.
25,000 years old.
We still use it. So we literally begged, borrowed, and stole, and that's in our DNA now, and that gets carried over. If we have a few more bucks now, it's just because we have proper jobs and proper incomes, but
we don't have any money. That's a lie.
Well, what little we have, we get paid on Friday. We go out and spend it on Saturdays.
We still all have day jobs.
Yeah,
and a lot of the situations that we would put ourselves in from doing this guerrilla style shooting, they weren't always safe. There were a couple times there over the years when we were shooting Slack Pack where we had guns pulled on us by cops several times.
Holy shit!
Yeah, 3 times.
It's not. I'm not sensationalizing it or anything, but when you're working that way, sometimes you cross with the authorities and they don't understand what you're doing when you're throwing flints against the wall in a public train station and making sparks and think it's gunshots.
We kind of developed a reputation after a while. There was 3 major instances where the cops did show up, and we had to go to court. Over the 7 years that we did the public access show, there's 3 major.
Well, one we had to go to court for.
One we had to go to court for. But we got out of other situations because we did develop a reputation around town as being those guys.
Oh, it's those guys with the camera. It's those slackers. Yeah.
But then they'll be like, "Dude, I love your show."
Well, one time we were shooting outdoors at night. And we just wrapped up, and we had
a Halloween special.
Right, we did a Halloween special. That's on YouTube. It's called Halloween Sucks. And we did some pyrotechnic work in our friend's backyard, and we were like, okay, great, that's great. So we're wrapping up.
It was a head burning on a pipe.
Right, yeah, we exploded a mannequin head.
It was melted face.
Right.
So let's give the police a little bit of credit.
Oh no, there was melted flesh there. Yeah, to their credit. Okay. But
mannequin flesh.
So we're wrapping up the stuff, and we hear people coming out of the woods. There's a wooded area in my friend's backyard, and we're like, "Who the hell is coming out of the woods?" And then suddenly, all we hear is a number of voices saying, "Get down on the ground, drop down, put your hands to your side," and we're like, "What the fuck?"
It was like a scene out of 7.
It was dark, and there was about 30, 40 yards out from us.
Males. Put the gun down, males.
They couldn't tell what we were doing. I think they just briefly heard the bang or the fire blast or whatever,
and they saw it from the woods. And the reason they were there, coincidentally, was there was a domestic disturbance in the area.
It was a guy with a gun, yeah.
And the guy was walking through the woods looking for somebody else, and he spotted what we were doing in the backyard. And then I was standing there, and I turned. I was we were packing up, so I had a light stand in my hand. And I was holding it like you'd hold a shotgun, like if you can imagine.
But you were like backlit.
Right, but I was backlit. And he couldn't see me, so I turned when he said, turn around, get down on the ground. And I faced him with the light stand. They came rushing in, and they rushed us down. They told us to get on the ground. Next thing you know, we're face down on the ground. We look up, and there's 15 police officers standing around us.
And then they go to the blown up head in the fire, and they're like, "Hey, we got some melted flesh over here." They thought it was. First of all, flesh doesn't really melt. But this guy thought like there was a melted body in the fire.
These local cops, they were just amped.
Yeah, they were
lying something. They watched too many movies.
They were excited, and
we were face down in the dirt for a while.
Yeah.
And one cop, I was face down there. One cop came up to me. Yeah, he came up to me. He looks down and he's like, "Pete, are you Bune?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Is this for your TV show?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Get up." I'm like, thank you.
And this was like, I guess they called off the K9 unit and stuff, and the helicopters who were like coming. They were on their way.
But yeah,
they love us.
And then they told, dangerous.
And then they told Mike, like, if he didn't drop that light stand, he would have shot him in the head.
Yeah, they were 2 seconds away from blowing my fucking head off.
That's probably the best story. There's another story there's a train station by us that we
were
post
9/11.
Yeah, like around here it was like ridiculous with these like terror warnings they would have post 9/11 sometimes.
Right.
And
we were shooting at a public railroad station.
Yeah. And we had like
pyrotechnics.
Yeah, we had like toy guns and pyrotechnics, and we didn't tell anybody.
They sent 3 different stations.
Yeah, there was like transit cops all over the place.
That's what we went to court for, actually.
Yeah. And then the judge was like, he's like, "Everybody get up here. You can't." It was like trespassing tickets, and he's like, "You can't trespass at a train station. Get out of here." And it was like dismissed.
We got off, but the cops, they obviously, you can't really get down on them, the cops, because if you really saw the scene that we were into and you didn't know what we were doing, it's really freaky and weird. And I guess you got to do your job as an officer to sort of control the situation.
Right.
The judge that we had though, he was asking questions about like, can you explain this public access show?
Right.
And then he would ask to bailiff, have you seen this show? And they're like, I want to now.
There really is a show, Judge, we swear. Yeah. Now it's a little easier because, if you look like a werewolf or a Frankenstein, you kind of, they can kind of half figure it out. They kind of know.
Everyone's doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
right.
Just like, but you know what? You still need permits.
But back then, when it was like a sweaty guy without a shirt on, like running down the street with a gun,
it's just
screaming no.
Most likely, Mike.
It looked, it looked like it could have been a real situation.
Unless it's one of those like really kooks and they actually believe you're an actual werewolf.
Yeah, well,
we haven't met them yet.
The camera that gives
yet. Emphasis on yet.
There's going to be some stalker with like an actual silver bullet that's going to be coming after Pete Bune over here someday.
I've had stalker situations, but no, I can't talk about that.
No. So that was
They're
kind of
foot fetish people. I don't like to wear shoes on TV.
Just show them your werewolf feet, and they'll probably back off. So
they allow me to talk about my stalker.
We're just jealous because we don't have them. Okay. So basically, that kind of ended that big those scenarios kind of ended our TV show. The first one, the Slack Pack.
Yeah. Those are negative stories. We have a lot of positive stories that came from those days too. In that, a lot of the people that we worked with too came up just like us. We
still work with them today.
We still work with them today, and they move on. They do their own projects. So we kind of started a community of artists, producers, and creative people that not only did we work with and work alongside of us, but that we sort of put out into the community or that are still in the community. And not that I'm saying we're responsible for major art around here, but
take the credit for it.
Are you familiar with Wes Anderson? He worked with us, and now he's doing great things.
It's almost
Charlie Sheen.
It's almost like a music scene. When you're in a band and you play a show or a punk show, and you get a bunch of other bands together, and you form a scene. You have a local scene where people show up, people come to the shows, people enjoy the music, they enjoy the art, we kind of been cultivating that our whole lives with, but through film and TV.
That's a good point because Michael was in a band here on Long Island that was a pretty popular punk band. And kind of we would be rolling like alongside it. We'd go to all these indie shows and see these punk bands and these hardcore bands, and we would bring the cameras along and maybe make an episode out of it. And we were kind of known as like not a band, but the band of filmmakers who would go out and kind of do our version of a punk band, which was like a punk TV show probably. And kind of we've kind
of stayed with that ideology with the Ghouligans.
Right.
I mean, people think we are a band sometimes. You have to explain that. You have to explain that the Ghouligans aren't a band.
It would be a cool band though. Like, what other band dresses like that anymore? Like Misfits tried it.
Gwar,
right? Yeah, that's like
Kiss. I like to think of us as like a Kiss type band.
Well, you had a Monster album.
Yeah.
We do mislead with the.
We don't like to be seen out of makeup anymore. So.
Right.
Why, you're too ugly?
Yep.
Yeah, we're too old and fat.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the chemicals in the makeup that's what did it. I don't know.
It degrades your face.
Yeah, it does.
You mentioned that you've learned a lot coming up from this. You learned a lot about filmmaking on the run. Was it difficult along the way picking up all these things?
Not picking them up so much. It was kind of just everything we learned how to do. We learned
necessity.
Just out of necessity. I mean,
we came up with an idea where we had to be like, how can we make this work?
Right.
Excuse me. And then we still use some kind of tricks that we learned back in the day.
Yeah.
Currently, I can't think of an example, but we'd be like, let's do this certain trick. And, we in production we'd reference ourselves and like we'd tell our crew like, yeah, we did this. This is how we used to do it, and it still works. All the practical effects still works.
Right. Yeah.
And they're, in my opinion, they're better.
Yeah.
They always look better. The practical effects.
Right. So when it came time for us to build our sets or do our makeup and things, like we have amazing people helping us out with it. But we opened the books, we read tutorials, we watched videos on how to do this stuff, just because we don't have the resources to pay people to do it, and why do it? Why have someone else do it when we can do it? And we love to do it. We love every aspect of making these projects, so why not us do it? It's time consuming, and it definitely has a huge impact on your personal life, which is like a whole nother thing.
Oh, here we go.
And there was like I said before, this was also, this was probably just as good, as any sort of film school would be, because we learned hands-on, we learned by teaching each other, we learned by learning from each other and learning from the people that we work with. So it was all hands-on. It was like, and just like Sean said, it was practical, and it was by any means necessary.
I said that.
Essentially.
He said practical.
I used the word practical.
That was Pete Bune.
Pete Bune
said practical.
Checkmate.
Oh, we should add that we have no film training. We just started working in film when we were teenagers.
We were dirtbags before we were film.
Right.
Yeah. Playing handball in the court.
But we still sell drugs from time to time.
Yeah.
And Rob, if you need anything, just let me know.
Crystal meth?
I got your New York Connect right here. Right?
Yeah, boy.
Just kidding about the drugs.
Gangster rap?
Complete bag.
I just give them out.
Yeah, we can talk about it after the camera's rolling.
Yeah, anything you need, man.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah, but I'm like the same way. I started just from picking it up as I got along, too.
Yeah, I mean,
probably the best way to do it. Film schools are great for meeting people and, getting other opinions about film and theories and all that stuff. But if you want to just start making movies, just go start doing it.
If you want to be a producer, you produce.
Right. You can't be a producer without producing things. And there's no excuse, really. That makes a lot of sense.
We've talked a lot about the Ghouligans so far, but can you give us a rundown for the audience what the show's about?
Well, the Ghouligans is it's a horror comedy variety show. It's in the vein of, like I said, the Monsters of the Addams Family. It's a take on vintage horror. It draws from vintage horror. It draws from vintage comedy, and basically it's a live cartoon. It's color. It's popping colors. It's millions of monster puns, It's
it's very
sight
very
gags.
fun heavy.
It's fun heavy, right? And it's actually something that is good for children. It's good for adults. It's universal, really. It's a lot like, it takes the Universal monsters, and it's almost like a new form of the Universal monsters. We take it very seriously, the vintage factor and the sort of historic factor of the classic monsters, and we update it. We put a new spin on it. We add our brand of comedy to it, and it's definitely a sight to see. It's unusual, but it's right there in your face.
Yeah, plot-wise, it's basically the famous monsters live together in a castle, and we encounter sitcom scenarios or just surreal sketch situations, and we interact with humans that are helpful sometimes and other times harmful, and then we have a lot of monster friends who pop by the castle, and
there's a lesson learned within the story.
Yeah, hopefully, we can there's a moral base to some of the stories that kids can appreciate, but there are some jokes that kids will not get, that their parents, that might make the parents shut the TV off. So if these were rated, they would be rated PG.
But we take a lot of like comedic tropes, things that you've seen a lot of times in TV before, but then we turn it on its head. We put monsters in situations that you normally would see, Kirk Cameron in.
Right.
Or Tony Danza is in a situation, but now you have a werewolf in a
right.
Tony Danza situation.
Imagine like Saved by the Bell if they were they were monsters
that would feed off flesh and blood.
And the Ghouligans consist of the Frankenstein monster Boris, Boyd the zombie, and Wolfgang the werewolf, and they're the three primary characters. And they all have depth. They all have sort of a character arc. Wolfgang is the party animal. He's the guy that everybody wants to be. He's reckless. He's loose. Boyd is sort of the burnout, sort of hippie, groovy guy all around. He's just there for it all. And Boris is the uptight. He's the uptight sort of blue collar, curmudgeon kind of guy.
His stitches are too tight.
Yeah, his stitches are sewn too tight. So they have their own character arcs that interact with each other, and we sort of take pride in the fact that we think about these things. As stupid as it sounds, these 1,000 puns may seem easy or trivial, that we sort of labor over these things that nobody else really would, and this minutia. That's what sort of punches through in the material, because we do think about it, and we, what asshole other than us is gonna put that work into something like and
somebody's gotta do it.
These three characters, we mix them out with our new 6-episode series. We're now bringing in all these other classic monster characters. The Phantom. We have we now have a mummy, Bob Tutankhamen. We have a sea creatures, Krill Gill. We have a pet blob.
The Phantom.
We have the Phantom. We said the Phantom. We now have girlfriends, what we call the Monsterettes. They're sort of girl monsters of us. We have a new vampire called Count Fleming. So we have a whole sort of circus cast of classic monsters that come in and out of this show that make it, so fast and so funny that, your brain is going to be scrambled by the end.
Yeah, many brains will be blown up while watching this.
Yeah, your brain's going to be like, oh.
Your brain's going to be screaming to get out of your head.
Yeah, your brain's going to be like, oh, go back. It's like coming out of my ears.
And it does cross sort of age gaps in a strange way. We do a lot of horror conventions. We travel across the East Coast mostly, and we go to horror conventions, and we set up a table and we advertise it, and we promote it, we get in costume, and the response that we get from different age groups is amazing, because children like 5 to 12 love it. They're glued to it. They can't stop watching it.
It's very specific.
Yeah, and then 24 to 75 love it too. It's the only demographic we miss is that teenager sort of thing where they just maybe don't really get it, or they don't vibe with it. But
it's like that age group likes one thing. It's like Morrissey, and that's it. And they're not gonna like us.
The teenagers will still like Morrissey, and that's it.
That's like 20 years old,
right? I don't know. Yeah, but he's relevant now.
Is he?
I think so.
Okay.
He's back.
Rob, is Morrissey relevant still?
No clue.
Huh?
No clue.
Oh, really? Okay.
They like Bieber. They like Bieber. No, Bieber. We're not Justin Bieber. So kids in that 13 to 22 22, they love Bieber.
And suicide, like,
And,
right? I don't like anything. I just like suicide. I'm gonna kill myself because I'll be popular then. That's what kids are into when they're 15 years old. Seriously.
Well, then they'd void this.
Like snuff movies and suicide.
Well,
going back.
You might have been only one in that.
You may have found our new niche, actually, to fill that age gap. But going back.
Yeah, start making snuff films.
Yeah, that's it. Monster snuff films. Look at that. Like killing a zombie over and over again, you know? Just on tape. Well, going back to what Michael was saying about kind of drawing comedy from the myths of those famous characters like Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, and the zombie and the mummy. Like there is so much material there for stories and comedy and situations, and those classic films took full advantage of them, of course. And there has been, like the Munsters, there has been, you know, sitcom versions of those monsters, but it's kind of like something that people are afraid to touch anymore, and we miss that dearly. We miss the age where monsters were fun.
And sitcoms were fun, too.
Right, sitcoms were fun back in the day.
And snuff films were fun.
Right. Well, snuff films,
they're still fun.
They are.
Yeah.
I like a good snuff. After I watch too many sitcoms, I like to pop in a snuff movie just to bring myself back down.
I know, I've watched them.
You know? Yeah, that's right, yeah. So there's a we
That's
take
a snuff, Sean. That's a snuff.
So we take a lot of those myths and the legends of those monsters, and we you know, like Frankenstein, like our Boris character, he's kind of like, you know, he's getting new body parts and new brains in and out all the time, and he meets his creator, his doctor, who, you know, gives him a hard time. And then the Wolfman, you know, he's like, if we had a Wolfman character, he'd be like a party animal. He'd be like on all the time and, you know, running around and getting drunk and causing chaos. And then the zombie, we figured would be funny if the zombie, he kind of started out as kind of like a self-deprecating kind of loser who was down on himself because of his, you know, he has no self-esteem, he's dead, and, you know, he's kind of a bum. So now he's just kind of brain dead and burnt out. And, like our mummy character, he's like a contractor, you know, he's like a builder. So he comes by and he helps us kind of redo our castle.
Well, we take it to sort of places that sitcoms or classic sitcoms would typically go. We pay homage to the characters, the classic horror characters. We take them seriously. We also pay homage to sitcom style and taking that seriously. But in a way, we pervert it by adding our own sort of style that we grew up using Slacker TV, and, you know, sort of our brand of humor is sort of in parody. You know, we have a lot of parody in it. We have a lot of sort of skewering of things, as it were, but while still respecting what it is and what it is to the core people, like real classic monster movie fans. You know, sometimes our stuff is polarizing because people don't know if, you know, you guys making fun of this. You know, like I'm a really big Mummy fan, you know. Why is your mummy, you know,
right? Why is your mummy wearing a hard hat and carrying a tool belt?
So sometimes there's a fine line with our stuff where people, you know, they're not sure, and that's why sometimes we get a lot of things where they're like, well, what is this? You know, sometimes there's that question there with us. But with our new series, you know, we pretty much put all the questions that we've come to learn about ourselves to bed. You know, we're very finite in what we're doing. It's becoming more of the episodes that, as we're editing them now, we're in the process of editing them and making the music. They're becoming more of a creation of their own. You know, they have a story now. They have an Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. You know, there's commercial elements. There's variety show elements. There's music. You know, we do original songs. So there's something for everyone to sort of bite there. They can no longer be sort of questioning us.
I think we put all the thought into it. So all you have to do is just sit back and watch it.
Yeah, right.
And
don't take acid before you watch it, though.
No,
do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Our show is so colorful that, like, you know.
We took acid when we made it. So
you should take acid with your children. And they should experience it in a way
as a family.
As a family.
The family
Are we still trying to sell drugs to this guy?
Yeah, I mean.
Well, think about, like, I think about this, like, when Mel Brooks made Young Frankenstein, which is brilliant, and we all know that, and it's a classic, but that was that's like what our style is more in line with, is like that kind of sort of spoofy, but
Irreverence.
right. It's creating a whole new universe while being familiar to another in reference.
Did you just compare us to Mel Brooks?
No, I can't.
I think that's fair. I mean, recently I just watched the original Bride of Frankenstein recently.
That's
and
right.
There's actually comedic elements to it.
Yeah, big time.
There are and then so it was easy for Mel Brooks to do what he did,
Right.
and Mel Brooks wasn't disrespecting it, and we're not disrespecting the original Universal monsters either. We're almost showing how much we love them. That we love them. We love them so much that we're making ourselves into them. You know.
Right.
You know, it's poor makeup in comparison, but you know, we're saying that we want to pay homage. We can't even afford to pay homage.
And the climate right now with horror.
Pay homage.
The climate right now with horror and the wave of horror in the mainstream, it's sort of a good time that we're showing up and that we're coming into this new age of horror in the mainstream, because, you know, while horror reignites itself and comes back, you know, whatever, with each new generation, now with the sort of introduction of the Twilight and all this sort of injection of horror into the mainstream, we can slip in through the back door possibly, and, you know, whether we're taken seriously or we're taken as the goof part of it, we can still sort of fit in this world that's now more open to monsters. Maybe not the monsters that we play, because obviously the vampire is king in this universe, but
And zombies.
and the zombie now too. But you know, we have a place now in the world, whereas before, if we were to do this 10 years ago, we might have been more out of place.
Right, like we could serve as an alternative to the kind of serious horror, you know, or the kind of like if you miss the old horror comedies that they don't really make anymore, like the last great horror comedy I can imagine would be like Shaun of the Dead, and you know that's kind of like a new classic. So they like there's not enough of them being made. So when there's 10 horror films being made a year, maybe one or two of them are kind of comedic. So we kind of serve as an alternative to that. We hope to serve as an alternative to that.
And with the new technology, you know, the internet and wherever, we have new life. You know, if we can't get to the mainstream, we can still exist on the cult level, which we always have, obviously. But
Where did the inspiration for the series originally come from back in the day?
well, I mean, the inspiration came through, I guess,
Did it start like
through us, probably. I mean, it wasn't necessarily an inspiration. I mean, we all have different inspirations. So, and we all started this together. So the inspirations came from, I guess, personal, you know, interests. Sean was always into horror,
the Evil Dead
series. You know, I was always into classic sitcoms.
Even in the Slack Pack, we would do some.
Right.
Even when we are playing ourselves and doing sketch comedy or sketch comps. What do we call it?
Oh, Episketch.
Skitcoms.
Skitisodes.
Skitcom. That's our trademark, because our new sitcoms are actually skitcoms.
So like, yeah, even back in the
You gotta copyright that.
Yeah, it's copyright. Don't touch it. It's
So even back in the day, we would incorporate horror themes.
right. We would toy with all kinds of genres.
We would do like our versions of the horror movies that we like Evil Dead or From Dusk Till Dawn, or
Right.
you know,
Dawn of the Dead.
We would do our versions of that, and that, I guess that from there, that's where like the Ghouligans continued into the Ghouligans.
But I remember when it started, because Mike and myself we were eating at Wendy's.
Yes.
And we had a connection at a horror channel that didn't wind up happening. You're familiar with Fangoria magazine?
Not. I haven't heard of it. No.
Okay. There's a magazine called Fangoria, and it was kind of like the Famous Monsters magazine of the 80s and 70s. And they were trying to get a channel going, a TV channel or an internet channel, and they said, do some demos and see what you come up with, because we're interested in looking at new material. So I went back to Mike, and we were talking We were sitting at Wendy's and we were trying to figure out something that we can do with our comedy, but mesh it with this opportunity with this horror channel. And like I said before, it's like we knew that we worked as a comedy, skit comedy gang. Then we figured, well, let's take these classic monsters. There's 4 of us, and there's 4 classic monsters. There's more than 4, but the 4 main guys. Let's make funky costumes and do what we can and make a demo. So we made a few months later, we made a 5-minute demo called the Ghouligans, just introducing each of the characters. And we did other demos for this channel, but that was the one that stuck out. And the guy said, oh, this Ghouligans thing is really cool. This works. And all our friends who worked on it and we showed it to all agreed that this Ghouligans thing was really cool. And it was a lot of fun. And we used, fun surf music and rockabilly music, and it was black and white, and it was really cheap and charming. And it was a lot of fun to do. So we figured it was so much fun to do. People dig it. Let's make more. And the connection at the TV channel faded away. Nothing ever happened with it, but we continued to make more Ghouligans sketches. And the next year we came out with our first DVD with, 12 or 13 little web skits on it?
Black and white episodes.
Right, and that was co-released along with the launch of the website, The Ghouligans, which the skits were on the website as well. And then in 2006, that's when we started touring with the material.
But back to what your question was about the influences. Specifically naming the influences. Really, it's for me anyway. I'm speaking personally as my end of the influences. I was always influenced. I'm not personally a huge horror fan. Sean primarily is a horror fan. Peter more of a horror fan, and that's where sort of the horror element becomes a little more authentic. I was influenced a lot by the sitcom, from the sitcom end of it. Specifically 60s sitcoms, Patty Duke, Dick Van Dyke, Get Smart, these classic
monkeys,
these classic sitcoms where the comedy was what it was, and it was very sort of
it was wholesome.
It was wholesome. It was pure. It was there right in front of you, and that's a lot of what our show. You'll still notice in our new series that influence in there, as well as all the classic horror that's in it. But you notice that sort of very sitcom-y influence in there, where that back in that golden age, sort of where sitcoms were new and fresh and
right. It's golden age stuff. It's golden age comedy.
The Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, you know what?
The Golden Girls.
Well,
what's cool about we take I said, we take that kind of that old standard classic TV comedy. And it's cute and it's wholesome and it's kind of it's like good breakfast.
But when you add the monsters to it makes it edgier.
Right. Not only does it make it edgier, we'll have the monsters learn our lesson and thanks for watching, kids. And then the next skit there'll be some guy getting his brain ripped out. And,
it's kind of cool in a way that we're packaged as a kids show. It's very colorful. It's as Mike said, we're live action cartoons, but the comedy lies in, and we're it's really not for kids. But
it looks like it's for kids.
It looks like it's for kids, and the kids could watch it there's enough edge there where
it go either way.
It's cool. I mean, there are parts where it does get a little bloody. We do gnarl our teeth every so often.
Right, and we do
we do some scares, and
there's a random tampon joke here and there for the vampire.
Boyd the zombie, he is constantly, killing himself or finding himself in situations where he is rising back from the dead or he is eating a brain. And
but that's when you're a monster, that's life, and that's where we treat it. It's all kind of this. It's this linear thing where if you're a monster and you're a werewolf, you're going to be eating a limb as you would watch somebody eat a sandwich. And that's it. That might shock some people, but that's what a wolf man does.
And I think it's also a cool factor where a kid could watch it and be like, oh, I watched this show and I didn't get scared. I made it through it. I didn't. Right. I only covered my eyes a few times, and it's a cool. Right. Kids could be like, yeah, I watched that show. Right, yeah, right. I made it. Yeah.
Yeah. I recently did give my friend. He has a 3-year-old son, and I gave him a DVD of the Ghouligans Super Show, which was our second DVD. And I said, hey man, like, your kid's gonna love it. Like, check your kids, you know, it's perfect for kids.
You might be young.
And, yeah, well, I learned that too late when he came back the other day, and he's like, yo man, he's like, thanks a lot. My son was up for like a week. Just fucking nightmares. I didn't get any sleep at all, and your show scared the shit out of him. And I was like, oh shit, man, sorry. You know.
Good, we've done our job then.
But they'll never forget us.
Right.
They'll pee the bed. There's a shape of a pee stain in the shape of a werewolf.
What? Huh? Well, anyway, I mean, he was pissed, but the kid had nightmares. But the kid, he said his son would not stop begging him to watch it again. Like he was like crying for him to show them the DVD again.
That's sick, dude.
Man, all right,
that's sick.
If I can appear in a kid's nightmare, like I can die happy.
You appear in my nightmares, but not in makeup.
Oh, that wasn't a nightmare. That was real. I was standing above your bed at one time.
Oh God.
Yeah. I was holding chloroform. You didn't realize that?
Question. That explains everything.
That explains the soreness.
I want to be back in makeup now.
I want to be back in the fantasy land.
Land of make-believe.
The design of your costumes have come a long way. Can you tell us how the current design came to be?
The current ones?
It's Versace.
Well, our team.
Who are you wearing?
The team that a lot of the stuff, a lot of the art design.
A question for Leatherface. Who are you wearing?
Sean is a talented. Back in high school, he was a very talented artist. Graphic artist, and we would get together, and he would make up sort of a mock of what the characters should look like, and we took these designs and we pieced together costumes from different things, whether they're bought costumes, whether they're vintage thrift store stuff. You have people that work with us with actual, costumers, things like that. They would bring some stuff in. So, again, it's very much a collective that starts with us three, and then it comes down to the rest of our people, especially the makeup, same thing. We do everything sort of from the bottom up. We cast our faces. We cast the mold. We bake it in the oven. We bake these pieces. We have a makeup artist.
Yes, we should mention our makeup artist, Shane McGowan, who's an amazing makeup artist who paints our pieces and applies them and does many, many other amazing makeup effects on the Ghouligans.
Yeah, sure. We have a lot of talented people that work with us. Costuming. Monique Stein, Teresa Koscik.
Right.
There's many people that work with us that contribute to these things, these ideas that we sort of have, and these dreams that we have.
Our sets were built with James Taffarelli.
Yeah,
right.
a lot of these, James Taffarelli people, talented people.
A lot of our props he built a lot of the sets and the props.
Sure.
Yeah, we're really lucky to be surrounded by amazing artists like that who can take on a whole bunch of costumes per week or per month. And we say, hey, can you go make this jacket or make this dress or a mermaid costume? And they say, yeah. And they go off and they make it, and we kind of let them do what they want to do. But our makeups and our costumes, we kind of sat around and we figured what we individually would like to wear and what we feel comfortable in.
They also evolved with the characters.
Yeah.
So we looked a lot different back in 2005 when we started to now. Like, for example, Wolfgang used to have a denim jacket and, and a trucker hat. And then now he has a pompadour and a leather jacket.
Right. Boris's headpiece used to be solid, and now, Boris has an exposed brain that lights up in his head. So much like our characters, much like our materials, everything always is constantly evolving with us. Mm-hmm. Everything is growing. Everything is moving. It's very many pieces that make it, that get it to where it is right now.
Right, but there's no particular wardrobe person or costume designer. Basically, it's us slapping stuff together.
As we developed our characters, the way they act, also the way they look evolves in the same way.
Right.
Does it take long to get up all in costume?
Oh dear God, it's the makeup primarily. The costumes aren't the problem. It's the makeup. Each one of us, each Ghouligan, takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on which Ghouligan it is, what time of the day it is, when everybody arrives. You know, is it snowing? You know, there's so many factors that go into. There's at least a 4-hour time break before we can even turn the damn camera on.
Where you're every time. Makeup. And sometimes we have multiple scenes in this new series where there's upwards of 30 monsters per scene.
Right.
And sometimes like we have 2 or 3 makeup artists and a bunch of people doing costumes, but still makeup could take 8 hours and we shoot for 3 hours.
I think there's only 24 hours in a day.
I think the longest day we had was I think the height of it was we had 15 monsters on camera on one scene in full makeup, just like ours. I think the makeup day was, I think it was 11 hours for makeup, and then we shot for 3 hours. And obviously, you know, if somebody in Hollywood is laughing at that, you know, because they're going 5-hour makeup, in one session. But you know, for us, with the time that we spend doing it and the time it takes to shoot it, you know, we're shooting in a hot studio warehouse that we're renting out. You know, so there's other factors that. Because we're doing it DIY, it makes it a little harder. But you know, that was sort of the mega day for us.
Yeah, give us a break. Stop judging us.
Yeah, Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. But if somebody wants to call us from Hollywood, that'd be totally cool.
You know where to find us.
We'll talk to you, but then
Jerk.
But we and aside from getting like the makeup, sometimes if there's 3 or 4 of us on camera, we'll one guy will be done first, and then we can start shooting. Because we all write, produce, direct the show. Pete Bune, Mike Koscik, and myself. We write, produce, direct the show. And sometimes we're camera operators, and you know, sometimes Wolfgang is in full costume, boom miking for Boris. You know, so it's all hands on deck. Everybody's a team player, and everybody does everything.
Well, that's not the correct way to do things. We know. We're aware.
Yeah, Hollywood.
We're aware. It is our.
Yeah, Montreal.
It is our way of doing things, and that's sort of, you know, when the saying goes, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's how we came up doing it.
Yeah, but you can lead an old dog to water.
Yeah, you can. Now, but that's the way we do it. I mean, of course, we have people that are in the business, you know, some professionals, semi-professionals that do work with us. You know, our cameraman, Dino Castelli, one of our cameramen, he's an assistant director on major commercial movie shoots, you know, but he's a friend of ours. He comes down and he does things, for cheap, you know, and he does things because he's passionate about it.
Not too cheap. Come on, he's got a rig, man.
And, you know, another talented guy we work with, another camera operator we have is RJ Wyant. You know, he has his own production company, Team Splash. These guys from Team Splash, another local Long Island, you know, film crew, comedy crew. You know, they make movies, they shoot sitcoms just like we do. So we have people that are actually there to help, but you know, on the budget and on the time frame that we're doing it, sometimes you can't get one of those camera guys down there. And like Sean said, poor old Wolfgang's got to get behind the camera. You know, but that's just the way we do things. You know, it's obviously, like I said, it's not the right way to do it, but no matter what, we get it done.
Don't cry for me.
Yeah.
Cry for the Wolfman.
This is my new album.
Cry. Tears of the Wolfman?
Yeah. Coming out on the Ghouligans production.
How do you guys get in the mindset of the characters? Any half-eaten human bodies we should know about?
Well, I have a playlist. I have a playlist that I listen to.
We smoke dust before the shoot.
Which we have, if you're interested.
No, my kid's listening to this, Robert.
The mindset comes from the writing. You know, we're all sort of, we pitch in with the writing together, so we know what happens before the camera turns on. We've drafted the script so many times that, you know, our rehearsal is sort of preparing for it.
Rehearsal is take one.
It's take one, yeah.
And also, we've been working with each other for so long. There's a shorthand chemistry almost, where you almost know where the other person's going with his ad libs or his actions. You could almost feel it. And that's why I still have dreams about Sean with his chloroform woman.
They're not dreams, I'm telling you.
Hello, answering. Pick it up. Call back.
Next time I'm not using chloroform. That's it. You're gonna remember every fucking waking minute of it. Basically, Rob. Basically, it's like to prep and get into character. it happens the moment like the makeup is done and the costume's on you. You have no choice because there's 10, 15 people there. You're the producer, and you got
the costumes also.
Yeah, like actors like prefer sometimes to use props and costumes to help them get to where they need to be. As soon as we're in that stuff, there's no kind of the human goes away totally until the makeup gets peeled off. And then
I can tell you personally, for me, I played Boris the construct, and the second it turns on for me is when I feel that screw that's on the inside of my headpiece pierce the top front of my forehead and
told you I'd fix that
and dents into my head. And then once that happens, I become the Frankenstein monster for the next 15 hours.
And that's
literally
right. That's what you need sometimes. You need that discomfort and that pain to kind of to put the person away.
Break through. Also, with this production, you can go 3 days without seeing your actual face.
Right.
Like when I'm watching like the new series, and I'm watching like the brand new edits, and I see it, and I don't see myself there. I see the characters, and I see Void and Wolfgang and Boris, and I don't see Sean, Mike, and Pete at times. And it's almost like I'm watching as a fan, and it's completely different.
Yeah, we're forced to just kind of forget about being the producers and the directors when we're on camera. You just have to be the monster.
How was production during the new series?
Long.
Yeah, longer than anticipated.
Hot.
Yeah, just hot and cold and really uncomfortable. When we built the set, our main set, our main 3-wall sitcom set, and other sets that we did, we have like a mummy's tomb. We have like a boat that we sail on that we built and stuff like that. Like when we're acting on those sets and we're there, as those monsters on those sets, the rest of the world just completely fades away. Whatever problems you've got going on in your life, and there was a lot of them through this production. When we get on set, after all the headaches of planning it and getting everybody coordinated to be there, once we were there on set, everything else just kind of went away.
And it a lot of it, we can't, although, we've birthed this thing and we do all of the major work and we make all the major sacrifices to get it going, the production would not be possible without the people that we work with. We are for all intents and purposes, we're collective. We need that pack to help us and to do it. These people that came down, we have production assistants, Will Pintarich, like guys like these, they come down and they spend the day with us. Mitchell Steinberg, Jake Stiebel, they come down and they spend the day with us, and they give all their time for nothing to help us build the set, to help us make a prop, to help us shoot the show. So it's really the production runs off of that. It runs off of that love and off of that passion and desire to make it happen. And obviously, like Sean said, everything melts away because it's 1,000 degrees in the warehouse.
Our studio space gets really hot.
Yeah.
With the lights, it reaches like 120 degrees, and then when you have to stop yourself from sweating because the makeup just drips right off, or the glue stops working in the sweat.
There were many pitfalls throughout the production. We shot indoors, we shot outdoors. We shot on the beach. And through varied temperatures, because this production carried us over the last year, 2012.
We were on the beach a few months ago.
Well, yeah,
freezing cold.
And we were in at different times. The way we do things, we have to go, with the whether it's the seasons or when the beach is slow, or there's so many different variables because we're doing it illegitimately. So we have to play by whatever rules are around.
Oh, we should talk about when we started writing this. Was it 2010?
No. 2011. Probably, yeah.
It was early
in 2011.
Yeah, we started writing the new series.
Conceptualized the whole thing.
Right, early, almost 2 years ago. Yeah. That's when we started writing and pre-producing. And we wrote for about 8 or 9 months.
Well, like we said, it's 6 30-minute episodes. So essentially this production was like shooting 2 feature-length movies at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, it's about 3.5 hours of materials.
Right, for like, this is all done on weekends with paychecks and stuff. We started shooting on October
2011.
2011, yeah. And that was our first day was October 1st. September 28th.
That's like just this past December, right?
Right, yeah.
November. It's just about a year and 2 months.
Right. And I remember when we first started writing this or pre-producing it and figuring out when, how we're gonna go about where should we start with these 80 locations and 200 people and all this other stuff. We're sitting in Michael Koscik's house on the first day of real pre-production, and the ground literally shook.
That's right. We live in New York, and
where you don't have earthquakes.
There are no earthquakes in New York ever. And myself and Sean, we were sitting on the top floor of my house, and we were sitting in a room, and we've never, being from New York on the East Coast, we've never felt anything like this before. You've not experienced an earthquake on the East Coast of New York ever. And it just so happened that out of nowhere there was some kind of earthquake down south or something, and the shock wave shot up to New York, and the room, I sat down with Sean, I said, okay, Sean, I laid out these papers on the phone, like, okay, look, here's what we're going to do. And then all of a sudden,
the house starts
the fucking house started going side to side, shaking. We were like, whoa.
That's when we should have said, all right, let's not do this.
Yeah.
That was the first time.
And, and throughout the production, there's been so much,
I think I was on the potty when that happened.
That's what it was.
There's been so much.
There's me making potty. Sorry, New York.
We've done this through hurricanes. We've done this through snowstorms. We've done this through personal tragedy and anguish. So it really was, the production really was just, we were possessed.
Michael broke his shoulder, his collarbone.
Yeah, I broke my collarbone. I separated from my wife. So, it's like,
I lost my girlfriend.
He lost his girlfriend.
I had to miss a couple episodes of The Voice.
Yeah.
Horrifying. Yes.
But yeah, that's the production it happens no matter what. We give it everything we have.
The show must go on.
Right.
Despite all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was roughly about a year and a half of solid shooting. Yeah. And we just finished recently. But it was an amazing time. And it's a good excuse to see our friends and people we admire and people we love to work with and stuff. And basically that becomes your social life basically after a while, when every weekend, people are calling, hey, you want to, let's go out tonight, or let's, come over to my house and hang out. And you're like, I can't, I gotta make a monster show. So that becomes your,
Do you realize what that just sounded like?
Yeah, I've been saying it for a year and a half.
And where do you want to take the Ghouligans in the future?
We want to do a space episode on the moon.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Time travel episode.
Well, I think
Dr. Ocean.
I think the ultimate goal for us really, because we're such DIY independent people, we just want to have the cult following. We just want to get it seen.
Come on.
And obviously, money is.
Mike, Hollywood.
Money is important, I guess. To get our money back would be great. To make a little money would be great, of course. But to just the fact that it exists.
I'd like to eat something except Ritz crackers.
Yeah, just the fact that it exists and that it may carry on or live on past us, and that it may be good enough. We hope that it will, that it will live forever, and that it will go beyond, and that if we can get it to enough people to see it that will like it, that it will have that life. Then,
like us.
That's a goal.
Like
that's a major goal.
Basically, we're all just really insecure, and we just want to be liked. Like we need some people to say.
Robert, do you like us?
Yeah.
But of course.
Yes, I like you guys.
Say you like us. Oh God, thank you.
Of course, we'd like to have it on television. That would be the ultimate goal. Would be to have it, a television show, a sitcom series, or something on a web-based format.
A Netflix series would be awesome.
Yeah,
something like that.
We can exist in any venue.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah, we can exist. We can make this to fit any form of venue.
Oprah's channel.
You want to be you can't do that on television television.
The Saturday Night Live horror.
Yeah. You can't do that on television.
Yeah, we don't want. I don't think we want to. We don't want like Michael Bay directing our movie or anything. We want to operate kind of on a slightly larger level than we're doing right now. But we would love for everybody in the world to see it, and that's really hard when you're self-promoting.
I want to be famous.
But we have enough resources now and knowledge where if we can get to that next level where we could, be funded for a movie or for another set of series, that we can actually, produce it and make it to those standards. We're just that one little problem of having an extra budget.
What's the problem? Just give us money and leave us alone.
Listen, Hollywood, we're just really, we're emotionally hurt.
We're like
right
the
now.
best there is.
We're really insecure. Now's a good time to exploit us and take advantage of us. So, if you're listening, Hollywood, I know you're out there. Okay. we just want to to make the Ghouligans into a TV show. And we want to
host the Oscars.
We want merchandise and stuff like
going up the red carpet in all your gear. That'd be hilarious.
What would that be, right? I want 2 Chainz to be part of our entourage.
2 Chainz?
2 Chainz? Okay. Sorry, Mike's more of a Little Wayne fan.
Young Money.
Young Money. My bad.
Yeah, whatever opportunities come our way. I mean, we
nothing's gonna stop us now.
Nothing can stop.
Yeah.
But basically, every opportunity that comes, we'll definitely talk to anybody who has any kind of interest in a monster TV show. Because come on, guys. We're huge.
Awesome.
We're huge.
Awesome.
It's so good,
I can even handle our awesomeness.
I can't even watch it. I mean, I don't want to watch it. Really.
Too awesome.
Well, you guys are awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for talking with us today. You can find the Ghouligans at theghouligans.com. You can find their Twitter at Ghouligans and their Facebook, facebook.com/Ghouligans. Is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, we're going to be doing, our new series will be coming out this summer, 2013, and we'll be running into the fall. We will be releasing it on the monsterchannel.tv. It's an exciting new new channel, internet channel that's coming up with horror movies, classic horror movies, and they're going to be doing new series. They're going to be adding us, and they're going to be broadcasting us probably come fall. They'll be broadcasting our series
For the fall lineup.
And we'll actually also we'll be doing a tour starting in March. We're going to be going out on the horror convention circuit, and we'll also be doing local stuff here on the East Coast.
That's in 3 weeks. So
yeah.
we're going to be in Cincinnati at Horrorhound Weekend, March 22nd to the 24th. That's 3 weeks from now.
That's right. Cincinnati, Ohio, not Cincinnati, Canada.
Yes. And then we're going to be in Dallas, Texas, the Texas Frightmare Weekend, May 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And in Orlando, Florida, Mayhem, Spooky Empire, May 24th, 25th, and 26th. Those are our first 3 shows that we have planned, and there'll be many more.
Yeah, we're going to be hitting the South.
Well, actually, we're going to be hitting, for your listeners, we'll be hitting Canada, probably Rue Morgue in Toronto.
Toronto.
Fan Expo?
That's Toronto.
Yeah, the Rue Morgue Fan Expo in August. So we'll certainly be coming up to see you kick-ass Canadians.
Hey, I'm going to be there.
Yeah,
all right.
So there we go.
Wait, guys, maybe we might not go. I don't know.
But
wait, you're going to be there, Rob?
We don't know if we're definitely going, Rob, okay? We just heard something that might,
But if you can, if anyone wants to come out and see us at the conventions, we have our DVDs for sale. We're in costume. We're tangible. You can actually reach out and kiss a monster if you want to. That's these things.
You will see a monster hug.
Right.
Someone else.
You want to kick the burger.
And if anybody if anybody wants to actually purchase our DVDs, we have a online shop that's connected to our website. Our DVDs are for sale, and we have some merchandise and T-shirts, stickers, stuff like that we actually have at the conventions for sale. Is also for sale online at our online shop through our website. I believe it's shop.thegouligans.com. That's our online store.
And you can watch our many episodes and skits on our YouTube channel.
Right.
YouTube? What's that?
YouTube is a yeah. Just go to YouTube, type in Ghouligans or Google Ghouligans, which kind of is a
Ghouligans.
But if you Google Ghouligans, you'll see many pages of Ghouligans goodies that Google has to offer.
And yeah, but we'll be out there, man. This is our big releases coming up. You'll be seeing us a lot over the summer, and this Halloween season is going to be huge for us. So look out for us this Halloween, 2013.
It's going to be very, very scary.
If you like unicorns, you like the Ghouligans.
Right.
Sounds great.
If you like birthdays, you're going to love the Ghouligans.
I hope you all found our time with the cast of the Ghouligans refreshing. See you all next time on 100% Creative Juices on ProjectMillionEntertainment.com.